So with this week's episode of Kaguya-sama, I have to say they did a really solid job matching the comedic elements of last week, which was my favorite episode, but doing something a bit more interesting and a bit more heartwarming with the love elements kind of at play, really making you just be like, man, you kind of want Kaguya and Miyuki to already be together, but at the same time, you still want them to be apart because this kind of back and forth little battle that they have going on is just so perfect. But at the same time, you realize if they did get together, it's not like the battle would truly end. They would always find something to compete with the other. And it's just like, man, this episode, it was great. There was actually a lot of content to this episode, and I'm going to assume they adapted a bit more in terms of the chapters than they have up till now, because it definitely feels like we got almost like 4 stories in this one episode. But the thing I'll say is it didn't feel like it was a packed episode. I actually think like the stories that we got that were actually over within a few minutes, it felt right. Like there was no point in dragging those stories out. It was just a nice, quick, satisfying little comedic gag, and then we moved on to something that kind of like this entire episode was just building up to the point where the French students come over, but we had all these like little stories kind of leading up to it. It felt like a very packed episode, but that's not a bad thing. I actually like the structure to this episode, and I have to say in terms of comedy, it was probably pretty close to last week for me. I really enjoyed it, and the first little story that we got introduced to in this episode was easily my favorite out of all of them. I love the comedy to this series because even though this series could easily work for an entire season, an entire 12 to 13 episode season just being focused on Kaguya and Miyuki, I'm really glad that they decide to add other elements to this. Like, I know we're going to get at least one more student council member before the season wraps up, but it's nice to have Chika kind of being more relevant in this episode and last week, because having that third element, it really makes these comedic gags way better, because not only do we got the amazing Miyuki and Kaguya back and forth where they know like this person has to like me, but I'm gonna make them fall into my trap so they admit it first. But then you'll have this wild card who will just shake up the cast, and even when they think they're leading someone like her, you know, the secretary's gonna be easy to manipulate. She's going to just be this pushover who I can use to win this battle, but she'll do things that just crack you the hell up. I have to say, having just them, Miyuki and Kaguya, both be in so much awe of the other because they're wearing cat ears that they are ready for marriage. That's funny. That's hilarious. It's a very solid joke by itself, because not only is it heartwarming and cute, but it's also hilarious because of the reactions and how they're trying their damnedest to not show how in awe they are, to the point that the other just thinks that they have such a plain reaction, they must think I'm just gross. But I bet if someone like her was wearing it, he would be all over. I love that because there's so many layers to that simple gag that actually make it hilarious as you're watching the over-exaggerated reactions, which honestly, in terms of reactions, I actually think this was the best episode for them, because you got a multitude of different styles. Art styles are always being played around with in the show, but it was just the amount of reactions from Kaguya, Miyuki, hell, even Chika, like, there was some great reactions. But I think the idea that, you know, this was almost going to be the perfect draw, that you have both them going to get a picture of the other in cat ears. That is like the dream for your crush, because most people think cat ears on anyone's going to be cute. But you could see how in awe they were, so even though they would be in the picture too, it was a win-win for both, and I love how it just ends like, if you guys aren't going to be normal, no one gets cat ears, and cat ears get banned from the student council after that. That was just so perfect, because I thought at first, I was like, man, it's cute how much Miyuki is kind of into Kaguya with these cat ears, but then you see the exact same feelings being applied to Kaguya, being like, I just can't even, my heart is melting. That is absolutely adorable. It was the perfect way to start off the episode, and just leading off of that, it just felt like the momentum just kept on going. There wasn't a slow part to this episode. It was consistently funny, consistently heartwarming, and held to even end on one of the most emotional moments to this anime as of right now. What I like is how when you get to simple things like the word game, you know, the banned word game, everyone has a banned word, if they say it, they're out, and then it's kind of like this elimination to figure out who's going shopping. The reason that we have characters like the secretary in this moment, it makes that scene so much better, because it would be perfect with just Kaguya and Miyuki. It would be a hilarious and entertaining scene. But seeing what a character who you would think would be so pure, so perfect in this very messed up game, use her sorrow and kind of reactions to make Kaguya lure herself in to be eliminated, as she then just like makes fun of her because she used her fake sorrow to eliminate her. That is hilarious. And then like on one hand you're like, was that truly all fake, or was that a bit from her real past, but she was just able to take the heartbreak and kind of use it for her own gain? You don't really know, but that's kind of makes it even funnier. And I just think, come off of last week, you see the amazing rotoscoping dance that they did for the ending song, which was incredibly animated. It was a beautiful ending song. And then you come into this week and she freaking raps. Like, I don't know what it is with modern anime lately, but they keep incorporating more and more rap scenes, and I can't say I'm not loving it, because honestly I am. It was just very cute to see that She was so into this game that she changed her speech pattern into a rap so she couldn't possibly eliminate herself. That is genius, and I just love the back and forth because you have, Miyuki being so sure of himself, like, I know how I can lure Kaguya and Chika in, like, he had it so perfectly wrapped up, and then as soon as he was ready, he eliminated himself. Like, I never knew that in an anime with Kaguya, who can be so damn frightening, especially at the end of the episode when she shook that French lady down, that you can have a pure secretary who can be even more terrifying with how she can outmanipulate these two brainiacs when she really wants to. Absolutely amazing, and to just come off of that and have Kaguya and basically her maid kind of, like, her maid's almost like the best wingman. Like, she'll just call the president for her, or she'll just, like, be whispering in her ear, like, oh, you're talking to the president and he's in the tub, he has to be naked. She's such a troll, but also kind of the perfect wingman because of her. Like, I mean, she got to call the president while he was bathing, and you can tell that she was very happy about that, even if she was embarrassed at that moment. And I like how quick this little scene was, because it's something that's adorable, and I think coming off of two hilarious scenes like the cat ears as well as the elimination game, coming off of a scene where you have, I'm pretty sure, Miyuki's father, who is voiced by the same person who voiced Dio in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I could be mistaken, but that voice sounds very familiar, and I think it was Dio. Having him just answer the phone and being like, why are you saying my last name? I'm answering the phone, this is me, oh, you're talking about my son. To have a Dio level presence confront Kaguya, who is so embarrassed to begin with, calling a boy that she likes, having the father answer, and you hear in the background siblings and the father, like, that was adorable. And I love how Miyuki plays it off as so cool, like, my phone's waterproof, it's fine, I can talk right now. It was just a nice, perfect midway point. It was a bit over the midway point, but almost felt like the perfect, like, it was a breathing gag, it was heartwarming, it was adorable, and of course it had to end in failure, where Miyuki is just standing in the rain being like, well, at the very least she canceled and I got my first text from her. Perfect. But to end the episode on this French battle, because Miyuki can't speak French, and you have this French school who's basically sending in their elite assassin, who is just saying horrible and horrible things to him, but he can't understand French, so he's just kind of like nodding in agreement, like, yep, thank you so much. And to see what Kaguya did just shake the girl down to the point that that might be the most frightening we've ever seen her, because she's not okay with someone insulting the president. What makes that final little bit so funny is because the French was very poorly done. I'm not great in French, but I could tell that it wasn't the best French, and I looked up online, a lot of people are agreeing, like, the French was so poorly done that it makes it even funnier. But then you just have, like, this, you can't even understand exactly what they're saying, and it makes it even funnier because you can just tell what's happening based on the reactions, and you can tell what's being said is shaking them up. And just to see the defeat and just it was probably the sweetest and most heartwarming moment in the show, because Kaguya is so embarrassed with herself that she thinks that Miyuki's going to hate her because of how violent she was. And he's just like, I don't know what the hell you said, but I know you're defending me. And in that moment, both are really appreciating the other. And you can tell she said, I love you, but just said it in French so he can't understand it. What a perfect way to wrap up the episode. You have so much great comedy, the cat ears, the elimination game, the adorable phone call with, I'm pretty sure, Dio's voice actor answering the phone, which you can't beat that. You couldn't even tell me something like that would happen, and it would be that funny before the season started. But seeing it executed, damn near flawless. And coming off of just the most ridiculous French scene ever made, and then ending up becoming one of the most adorable, like, Kaguya-sama is killing it. The voice actors, I don't understand how Kaguya's voice actor can keep topping herself, but she is. This girl deserves a reward, but that's not to say the others don't as well. Chika, Miyuki, both are killing it with just their fluctuations in their tones. But seeing how a girl can go from so damn adorable, raving about cat ears on the boy that she likes, to holy hell, she might stab a bitch because of what she just said to the man she likes, that isn't that easy, and I think she's nailing it 100%, but like I mentioned, I think it is the reactions in this week's episode that really sell it for me. I think it was the best reactions. There was a lot of fun styles. I love how you can fluctuate between absolute depressed to what is this goofy scene that I'm looking within a matter of seconds. That's what I like about comedy anime, is when they get it right, when they really use the visual medium to its full potential, you know it's going to be even funnier. I'm sure this was a hilarious manga, but seeing it animated, seeing all the styles that they're using, the amazing voice acting, and the solid soundtrack when it is present, it really makes this into what I consider to be the perfect comedy anime, because it hasn't let up, and when it could grow stale, they're doing something interesting, like adding in another character, or just shaking up the cast by showing us a bunch of French students just get beat down by Kaguya. Like, it's perfect, the comedy is on point, and I can't say enough praise about this show. It has been the perfect comedy anime for me, and I don't have many series that I feel that way with. But let me pass the question off to you. What did you think of episode 4? Was it your favorite episode? Did you have a favorite point in this episode? What are you feeling about this adaptation? Because we are a month into it, are you still enjoying it like myself, or is it a little lackluster for you? Let me know. And be sure to like the video if you did enjoy, and also hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. But until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.